people with nightmare siblings. What's the most fucked up thing they ever did? Oh okay, I might win this one. My brother tells anyone who listens that I willingly fucked our father. Our father's in prison now. I was 12 when the abuse started. This is all stated in police files and he's had consent explained to him. And our mother agrees with him. He has also spent the last 6 or so years slandering me online and trying to join any space I occupy so he can tell his sob stories to my friends. Thankfully I have good friends who shut him down wherever possible. I'm 24 now and getting ready to press charges. I don't want to and it's an absolute last resort, but it's really been hurting my mental health and the defamation needs to stop. All of this came about because I have always refused to let my shitty childhood define me. I haven't had immediate family in nearly 7 years now and I'm okay with that. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the waters of the womb. Dropped a barbell on my face while I was laying on the couch, breaking one of my front teeth and causing permanent jaw damage. Not to outdo himself, the same brother tried to stab me in the ribs with a homemade shiv, causing significant injury a few years later, and he wonders why even decades later I want nothing to do with him. Can I ask how this came up? Was it hey, why don't we have a relationship? Either way, he sounds crazy. Tried to reach out after their home burned down in the California wildfires last season. Karma is a real bitch. Click. A lady I used to work with, she came home to find her schizophrenic sister cradling their deceased mother's head, as in, she killed her mother, and removed her head. Yeah, damn, that's fucked up. While my mom was dying of lung cancer, unable to move and in horrible pain, my junkie brother stole all of her opiate bandages. She even kept them under her pillow, so no one could have access to them. He would bend to kiss her, and sneak his hand under to grab them. My siblings convinced me to grab an electric cow fence because it would give me superpowers. Needless to say, I did not get powers, but I did end up gasping for breath a few feet away from that fence. She had a nice job working for the FBI. Her job was to do background checks on people in need of security clearance. There was a guy she knew and liked, a cruise ship captain, needed to renew his clearance. To try to get him pissed at his girlfriend, my sister added items to his girlfriend's criminal record. Since it was a renewal, the guy escalated it, and what my sister did was discovered. She was convicted and sent to federal prison for a year. What really screwed it up was she didn't tell her kids, they were in their late teens and early 20s, that she had court issues. So they came home from school to an answering machine saying, "Mommy can't make dinner tonight because she'll be in prison for a while." Stuff like this reminds me that our officials and people with government jobs have the same internal stupidity compass we all do. As a government employee, I often look around at my colleagues and wonder how we haven't collapsed yet. At 12 my brother got in with a gang. By 21, going on body count, he was a serial killer. I couldn't tell you how he is now, as I cut off contact a few years back when we were arguing and he mentioned that myself and my kids could be touched at any time. My brothers, half-brothers, they have the same father but I have a different father, are a bit older than me. One day they were both sitting on our dock fishing. The oldest brother picked up a knife out of the tackle box. They were about 12. It was a brand new knife of some kind specifically for killing or cooking fish or something. He looks at my other brother and goes, "I wonder how sharp this knife is," and without hesitation he literally stabbed it into the top of the middle brother's thigh. Totally casual about it, like no big deal that the knife was in deep enough to stand upright by itself. My brother is extremely mentally ill and he doesn't have a short fuse. He has no fuse. So, when he tripped and my sister laughed at him, he charged at her with a knife and almost killed her. How did your parents handle him after that? He goes to counseling most of the time and has gotten better, but he can explode if he hears one sound he doesn't like. Swapped my father's medication for aspirin after father's heart surgery. Oh crap, so sorry, I feel you. I returned from 5 months overseas and found my sister had been hiding my mom's Alzheimer's medication from her, and the times mom remembered she was supposed to be taking it, sister was telling her, "No, you took it today already." Why? Oh, to make mom lose her mind faster so sister could scam her pension but hopefully also the house off her. Charming. I truly hope your sister goes to jail. That's unconscionable. My older brother once sat on me and mummified me with duct tape and then left me outside in 30-degree weather while he played PS2 with headphones on. He taped my hands and feet together first and then the rest of me. I couldn't even fight back. I was left that way until our mom got home a few hours later and grounded the shit out of him. My brother is in prison for kidnapping, assault with a deadly weapon, evading arrest, attempted murder, possession of an illegal firearm, possession of a controlled substance, possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute, manufacturing a controlled substance with intent to distribute, and as a cherry on top of the shit pile, rape. Here's the truly messed up thing. The rest of the family was surprised it wasn't worse. Yeah, my bro is also locked up for stupid, bad shit, looking at missing out on 15 years of his daughter's life. She will have graduated college with a 4-year degree by the time he gets out. If he reoffends again with the same charges he is looking at getting out after I retire, and our father likely being dead, yeah, on top of all the shit he actually got put away for, he's also a 3 times over deadbeat dad with 3 different women. The hardest part is accepting that they will either be killed or incarcerated most of their life when all you ask for is for them to just be a decent enough person to have them over for family dinners, holidays. Oh, he's long since burned all of those bridges, with the last of them happening because he stole a car from our mom. No one in our family ever wants to see him again, and our dad has said straight up if he shows up at the house again he'll be met with the end of a gun barrel. My sister is a convicted pedophile who used to sexually abuse our grandparents' foster children. She also sexually abused me and our cousins. She convinced our dad to sign for a car loan for her when she was in her early 20s because she had already trashed her credit. She never paid any of it, and he was already struggling financially. It sent into a downward spiral that ultimately ended in his death from a drug overdose years later. After being rendered homeless, she has always loved to date gang members, one of whom was implicated in the murder of her cousin. We share a father but have different mothers. She was subsequently caught sleeping with multiple police officers to get information on the case to keep her murdering boyfriend out of jail. In that same murder spree, 2 innocent people who had nothing to do with the gangs involved were executed after begging for their lives. They had just both happened to walk past at the wrong time. She still doesn't think her, now ex-boyfriend, should be in jail. Happily he was convicted and won't be getting out of jail in this lifetime. She got married a few years later. A few months after the wedding, on Christmas Day, she tells her new husband, who, by all accounts, was actually a decent guy, that she is going out for milk or something, and she never comes back. When our father was in the hospital and I was having to have him taken off life support, she kept telling everyone she was on her way. Please wait for her. I did, for 2 days. Turned out she lied, never left her house, about 8 hours away, and thought it was hilarious she made us all wait. This is all on top of the mental and emotional abuse I suffered at her hands for years. She broke things I cared about, would keep me awake, and hit me with belts and barbecue tools if I fell asleep, for days at a time. I am pretty sure she killed my grandparents' dog. She still posts on Facebook occasionally, from what I hear. After what happened with my dad, I sent her a message that I hoped she died alone and blocked her on everything. She is a monster. I have never been this thankful to have a sane sibling. Wow. After reading this, I'm thankful that my sister is just a basic narcissist. He threw a fit and broke his phone when my parents didn't give him money for cigarettes and beer. He was 36 at that time. He constantly cheated his then-fiancée out of money, enabled his 2 kids from a previous marriage to be awful kids, then had 2 more he cooled to raise with another woman. He's as abusive as our father, so I cut him out of my life as soon as I turned 18. Tried to rape, molest, and kill me several times. I had myself removed from the house when I was 14. My parents would do nothing about it. That's just what brothers do. Yeah, 2 years ago he tried to apologize through text message. I refused to talk to him or be in the same state. This turned into him declare his romantic love for me and asking if I felt the same. I blocked his number. That is sickening. Did you also stop talking to your parents? Number. But I didn't talk to them for several years. My mother apologized when I was 30. We talked, It's stuff her father and brothers would do to her, so she thought it normal. My father, who also molested me, denies it ever happening. I'll text with him every once in a while. He was recently diagnosed with ALS, so ... karma? Spread semen on my pop star posters just to disturb me, threw firecrackers in my bed while I was asleep in it, strangled me with a PS2 controller cord, pawned my belongings on a semi-regular basis, killed our pet parrot by putting it in a closet with a space heater, beat our dog in front of me with no apparent reason, etc. She had sex with her married boss. She was 16 and he was in his mid-30s, stole cash from him twice, emailed his wife the proof when she got caught stealing and ruined their marriage. Her mom told her to have safe sex and gave her condoms, so she brought back the used condoms full of cum and gave them to her, got kicked out of her house the third time she got caught stealing and is a felon now. Her dad had to drive 5 hours away at 3 a.m. to bail her out of the county jail. Tried to have sex with me and every single one of my friends. That's off the top of my head. She was and is a nightmare human being. She is a step-sibling by marriage, and I tried to stay as far away from her as possible. My younger sister grabbed the wheel while I was driving, and we almost went into a ditch. I asked her why she did that. She told me she wanted to see my reaction. In my experience, fucking with people just to see their reaction, even in cases that aren't life-threatening like the one you described, is a sign of emotional insecurity and narcissism. Toying with people's emotions, purposefully instilling fear or anger in a person because it makes you laugh, fits right into the school bully who's abused at home archetype. My brother does this kind of stuff all the time and I know how it feels, but I can't imagine him doing something so extreme as almost crashing the car. Unfortunately, I punched her in the face to get her to let go. I was 21 and she was 15, but she almost crashed the car. I was lucky I hit the brake. I felt bad about punching her. She called the police on me, but when I explained what happened, the police didn't do anything. I cried so hard I threw up. I did get you out from my dad for hitting daddy's princess. Sorry, did you say she called the cops on you after almost killing you? That's fucked up. I would have left her there, to be honest. I was the nightmare sibling. We've since mended fences, but the guilt over my actions has driven me to suicidal ideation. I see how my awfulness has affected my family, and living with it makes me want to die. It's a toss-up really between 3 things my brother has done. A. Found out my brother and his wife were not separated and getting a divorce, something he'd been telling the whole family for over a year and she knew nothing about until I inadvertently said something to her. B. His posting on Facebook that my mother had passed away just to get sympathy likes. She was sick, but not yet dead, and I had to wake up and handle the massive freakout from relatives and friends. He then claimed he hadn't known it would be taken that way, even though people were sending him public condolences and talking about her in the past tense. C. Got confirmation from someone who knows him really well that he lied about having cancer at one point. Again, pretty sure that was for the sympathy and likes. There's a lot more and enough for a shit show times 10, but those are just the 3 biggest that impacted me and or I just can't forgive him for. He also lied about having hurt his back, so he couldn't come to our mother's funeral. Only 2 weeks later he posted photos of himself online holding his contractor's license, bragging about the jobs he was doing. He's never answered me on what miracle operation or treatment did he get to cure his bad back so fast, and hasn't spoken to me since that day. Nothing of value has been lost. I was maybe 8 or 9 when this happened. For context, my dad was deployed and my mom was working, so my brother had to babysit me. My brother was around 16 at the time. As soon as my mom left, he shoved me into a closet and locked me inside for 6 or so hours. I was scared of the dark and couldn't reach the light string. He didn't let me out to use the bathroom or eat anything, so I ended up going on myself and sitting in the dark until my mom came home. She told me that he was asleep in his room when she got home. Needless to say, I really fucking hate him. He's still an awful person, by the way. Did your mom discipline him at all? Yes and number. She went in and yelled at him about how wrong it was, but that was about it. He did it multiple times after that. He got good at hiding the shit he did to me and threatened to kill me if I told our mom. And being a scared child, I listened. So a year or two passed and my mom came home early and caught him choking me out. He got kicked out on the spot. I really wish I wouldn't have stayed silent. My younger brother threatened to murder me and my mother with a hammer he found after he couldn't find a bat. He started a countdown from 10. Thankfully, since he's had major blow-ups most of his life, I'd begun recording them shortly before this one. We're alive and he's in jail. How old was he when making threats? This one was last year. He's 39. He's had a destructive temper since he was a kid. He's also been an opiate addict for the last 20 years or so. A few months before this, I was visiting my parents, where he's always lived, to find him falling off a chair in the kitchen, blue in the face from another relapse and overdose. I did CPR and brought him back. When the last rager happened and before he made the ultimate threat, he was reminded by my mother that I saved his life. He said, once, he saved my life one fucking time. Fuck him. Thanks for watching. Why not join the snooker by subscribing to the like button down below?